Welcome in, everybody. It's Ball Up Top, a women's basketball podcast, your favorite women's basketball podcast, favorite women's basketball podcast. It's Andrew, it's Greer, it's Shawnee. And folks, the WNBA season is officially here. It is officially upon us. We have games going on in the background. Yeah, I know, right? What happened? Did something big happen this weekend? You'd never know. We never would have seen it. Yeah. I didn't watch ESPN this morning. Before we roll on the actual basketball, because we gotta address the elephant in the room of this past weekend in the interest of ethics and accountability. Obviously, we had a post-game show this past weekend, and a couple of unconfirmed rumors ran a bit amok. And I will say, for those of you watching, as the de facto editor-in-chief of No Cap Space, that is the accountability that will go to me. I know a lot of people had heat and had smoke for Tyler, and that matter has been discussed. It has been internally corrected. There is a lot of processes and things that we have put in place to make sure that when we hit a certain level on things we are seeing online, what we need to go through and who needs to be talked to get that stuff out into the public. And I will say this, because I over the past couple of days, I've been a little bit charged up about this concept. We built a year, or put a year together, building this credibility up for the show, right? And the old adage in journalism is always, it takes a lifetime to build credibility and a second to lose it. I am not going to, excuse the choice to run with those rumors on the show. I can tell you all that Tyler is an extremely talented young journalist, and that's a young journalist's mistake. And he owns it. As mad as people might be in the comments, or people that have reached out to us individually through our social channels, I can assure you nobody is more frustrated with themselves than he is. I know when I was 24 in journalism, I was in Market 198 in Casper, Wyoming, making those same mistakes, but the audience was not nearly as big. But there is also an accountability to take with the audience and the size of the audience. We have put ourselves to you guys and this basketball community as being honest brokers of what is out there, of approaching these things with nuance and approaching these things with grace. And it's okay to take the accountability and say that we missed the mark on those things. Now, what is not going to happen as the person that is kind of the point of contact, and if you have any further smoke, you can direct it to me. There will be no further bloodletting. There will be no additional pound of flesh. If the accountability and the pledge to make sure those types of mistakes don't happen again, and you want a pound of flesh, you can have a pound of these nuts. Like, I am not doing this with people. I appreciate the activity of our audience. You guys make us what we are, but we are also not infallible to having mistakes be made where sometimes you get caught up in the moment of what is happening out in the world. And our pledge has always been to put the basketball first. But as the both of you know, we have a value system here at No Cap Space. We have an understanding of what our morals and our ethics are as a group. We will never shy away from having difficult discussions as it pertains to the sport itself. My adage is always what happens between the lines isn't political, but the sport itself is. And there are always going to be conversations in this league and how people are treated and how people are discussed in this league on every end of the spectrum that we're never going to shy away from discussing, because that is what we have always pledged to do and to build. But we've also made sure that we have tried to be an entryway for people, whether new fan or old fan, to be involved in the game with us. And so our pledge to you guys from here on out is the basketball will come first. And we will not shy away from those conversations. They will come at the right point. What I know, Shawnee, we've talked about it in the past before, picking and choosing the spots to maximize the impact of what we feel is important to our viewers, and that's important to our compass, so to speak. It's important to not burn that credibility on everything that we see. And that was a moment that we came up short in. And if you feel that it's a bridge too far and you don't want to rejoin us, that's okay. I don't begrudge you for that, but the matter has kind of been handled with us. We have all had our conversations about it, and we're going to make sure that, this continues to be a place that doesn't get caught up in the bullshit, because that has been, our ethos from day one is being a bit of a safe haven for people that want to talk about the basketball. So, as the person to direct all your hate mail to, if you still feel that that is something that you want to get off your chest, feel free to send it to me. I'm a big boy. I can take it. You can Google me. My name is the first thing that comes up when you put my name in. So I'm good. I've been in this game for a long time.
And don't worry, Tyler is being punished. He's having to cover Dallas Wings basketball tonight. Don't worry.
I was gonna say, we sent him to bed that night with no dessert. Like, he get his weekly dose of gluten nuggets. Like, nah, we took it all.
Yeah, standards on the board, thousands.
What are you talking about? What?
He
on
said,
the line.
Look, we had him run suicides. We're gonna send him to we're gonna send him to Uncas Hill for a couple weeks.
That's what's crazy. You can't even call him that anymore. That's what's crazy. But
we're gonna we told him, look, we wanted you to be on the Page train this season. Instead, you are going to Mohegan Sun Arena for the foreseeable future. You will be in the gulag until further notice. But I wanted to just make sure that was discussed and not wait till the end to discuss it, because I know that we cut these up in chunks. And I wanted to make sure the first portion that goes on YouTube on Tuesday morning is something that everybody sees up front. We take that stuff seriously. And with that said, and with that in mind, this is a place for us where we have very clear lines about what is acceptable and unacceptable conduct in terms of like our comment sections and where we feel people are, and certain fan elements on either end. We're the place for clearer heads to prevail, or at least we try to be. So that's what we're going to continue to be, and we're glad that you're continuing to rock with us. Before we get into all the hoops, any final thoughts on that, Greer and Shawnee, before we turn the page and get into some ball?
Like Angel said, move on. We move.
Ball up top, quite literally.
Hey.
That's a segue. So let's talk hoop, because we had one hell of a weekend, and lost in the shuffle of that crazy Fever Sky game was the fact that, a little bit of history was made in this matchup. Caitlin Clark, 20-10-10, goes to number 3 on the WNBA career triple-double list, which is insane that this is game, 37 for her, first game of her sophomore year, and is already 3rd on the list. And on top of that, because we're going to have a decade and a half to talk about Caitlin Clark, going to give a big shout to DeWanna Bonner, number 3 on the all-time scoring list. Managed to have a wonderful reception in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. And I know, Shawnee, you're going to get into it too. A proactive effort by the Indiana Fever social team. And this is something we've talked about for years in this league, is not being proactive enough in making sure the legends of the game are adequately honored. I thought they did a great job making sure that they were prepared to give DeWanna Bonner her flowers mid-game and after game too.
Yes, because a couple of days before, you're seeing the post like, oh, on this night, like, she goes for it. They're showing it. I'm seeing fans talk about it. And it's not waiting until Caitlin breaks the record, or not breaks the record, but becomes 3rd on triple-double list to be like, wait. DeWanna Bonner did this, and thank God they did that, because we would have never been able to dig it from the rubbish. So I loved it. I love that the Fever, they get it. Like, we have the eyeballs, we have this attention, and the fans reacted to it. Like, she's getting standing O's. She's getting the attention. She's saying stuff like she ain't never had this before. She's been in the league for a long time. She's been a primary option for a good little minute. So it's like, I'm happy to see her get her flowers, and the Fever understand how to use the attention to benefit their Black players and honor, legends in the game.
Yeah, I mean, for me, DeWanna's long been one of my favorites. In addition to being 3rd all time in points, I believe she also has played the most playoff games of anybody in league history. And so she's one of those players where she's always playing for something. Mm-hmm. And it's really, really hard to do that in this league. So we're talking about sustained excellence coming out of Auburn, which is not a women's basketball powerhouse by any means. No shade. The way that she's carved out a legacy for herself in this game. I look forward to seeing her in like the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, maybe even potentially the Naismith Hall of Fame. She has been that good for that long.
Yeah. And
twice.
Yeah. Well, and you know what's amazing about her, even going back to the college career, right? She was one of those original stay home and build your program type people. And what people miss, because that 09 Auburn team got upset in the second round of the NCAA tournament that year, that was a 30-win team that won the SEC on her back. On her, pretty much her and Whitney Body, and that was like it.
I was going to say her back, her bones, especially Joanna back then. She's still light as a feather, but even then,
yeah, like it really. It was incredible. That team was a top 10 team in the country. Regular season SEC champs. Also, interesting kind of like tie, coached by Nell Fortner of all.
Nell was in the video.
Yep.
Nell,
yeah. And when you look at her career too, you're talking about someone who really kind of hit the ground running immediately once she entered the league, right? Like she was a double-digit scorer when she got into the league with Phoenix. She won her rookie year. She was a vital piece off the bench. She had about 20 minutes a game. She didn't start, but she was like a sixth woman in that role. And by year 4, like she's averaging 20 a game and is a massive part of the Connecticut Sun group that is really, I know we kind of joke on them and like characterize them as like always the bridesmaid team, as long as it was her and Alyssa Thomas and kind of like jokingly the sister wives of Uncasville. But like, we can't ignore the fact that like that team was regularly in the finals and regularly in the semifinals, right? The only thing that was really missing was a ring from that era. And she got 2 as a major component of that Phoenix squad. And now stands to kind of be a missing piece on this Fever team as well. And even though she's 37 years old, this is, like you said, Shawnee, one of those periods where you can use the rising tide to lift all boats. And that's what the Fever did. This is the exact definition of why this could be a good thing for the league if done properly. And, just a big shout out to Dewana Bonner, man. I mean, a great career and someone that I think people are going to be a little more attuned to this season, just given what her accolades have been. And golly, bro, in my 5 hot takes of the year, I had a prediction that maybe the Fever, based off what the preseason was and the fact that they had so many new faces, were going to have to start a little slow. No. No, dog. They look here. And Shawnee, I'll go to you first because early victory. I know 1 game sample size, and Chicago clearly is not the Chicago of last year, but like,
don't care.
Early victory lap on Aaliyah Boston. Like she legit. Woo! Different player.
So let me say I take extra pride in the butt cut that happened this weekend. Belt out whooping. Move your hand. Because I am slandering Slack Mamba, and then now I got Sky fans. So I couldn't even take my victory lap properly this weekend because I was I was preoccupied. I had stuff going on. But boy, woo! They told me it was going to be different this year. I was told it was going to be different this year. So now we're seeing that, it might be a little worse. But y'all was saying, oh, we're not scared of 45-year-olds, Dewana Bonner and Natasha Howard. And fair, because I make ageist jokes when it fits me also as well. However, 88-year-old Sloot. Hello, what are you planning to do about that? Are y'all okay? Because she was boy, when Caitlin hit that midi, I was like Tiffany Pollard, bro. I was like, a midi? A midi?
New York, dog.
New York, bro.
Miss New York is crazy. Half our audience isn't even gonna
stand up, okay?
Hello.
Stand up.
And Rashard, if he watches.
Oh my God.
If he's watching this one. But the Fever, I told people last season, when Aaliyah got off to that slow start, I was like, this is a completely different style of play that she's used to. Because even at South Carolina, it was dump it down low to her. Everybody kind of find a spot, be ready for the kick out if necessary. And she improved her passing tremendously to be able to get out of different situations. But like, we're still seeing her take on 4 people as the defense collapse on her and solely her. So then when she gets to Indiana, it's more or less the same, except when she played New York and hit the 3 to send it to overtime. Remember that. But you know, she's been transforming her game, and I told people, be patient. Like, it's coming. She's literally adapting and changed her whole game to become more of an Alyssa Thomas prototype, the Alyssa Thomas prototype. And I don't think people understand like how impressive that is in like one season. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's come back and she's her better condition to suit this style of play. The passing, she's gonna get that triple double. And I told everybody, I'm gonna be on StreamYard when she does it. That's gonna be an emergency pod. We're gonna have to talk about it, and I'm just gonna yell for an hour straight. Just yell. But she helped unpaid. I'll go outside. Everybody needs to hear this. So like, I cannot say enough good things about Aaliyah Boston and where she is and how crucial it is to this team. Because like, I was box score watching the first part of the game, and I saw like, you know, she's getting off to a slow start, and there was some grumbling, and I was just like, I know my dog. She's coming back. And then I'm seeing the movement. I'm seeing the passing. I'm seeing the 3 corner threes in the preseason, and I'm just like, bro, we're here. ABC squared, man. ABC squared is here, and people should be afraid, because if they're adapting like this, because Caitlin also had like 3 turnovers, so now everybody knows how to catch her passes. Everybody knows how to move and finish with her passes, and Aaliyah is also making some passes. Like, that's why, Andrew, I'm sorry, man, you're on Pack Watch. Yeah. When you said they were gonna start off slow, I said no. This can't
Here's
be
the thing.
right.
I knew that 5 hot take story had the chance to really go 0-5 and age like milk. So it is 100% possible here. I think what impressed me so much about Aaliyah Boston was the fact that she was so comfortable taking people off the dribble. And that was just like you said, not a part of the game at all last year. That was traditional back to basket. Like, if she got it at the elbow, she's not taking you off the dribble. She's going to back you down. 1, 2, 3, hook shot, go in. I mean, to see her do that was remarkable. And it makes me almost have to recalibrate what the expectations of this Fever team are. And I know, again, 1 game, limited sample size, limited team. But Greer, are we in a point right now where you see what was on display and go, maybe the expectation of what this team is and should be, maybe we should be grading them on a higher curve after a matchup like that?
Oh no.
No, it's not even an oh no. I thought it was interesting that before the season began, there were 2 different like trains of thought within the organization, because there were some players who were instantly saying, no, it's championship or bust. And then there were some other people in the organization that were saying, like, we want to make it past the first round, I guess, like what they weren't able to do last year. And so, no, I always thought through free agency and the draft, like, they wanted to maximize the window now, because with this upcoming CBA and just you don't know how long a window stays open in the W. And so I was taking that at face value. When Natasha Howard said, I want to have an MVP caliber season, I was taking that at face value. Yeah, so I always believed that is where they wanted to go.
Very impressed.
You don't go get a Dewana Bonner and Natasha Howard, who are both multiple time champions in this league.
Yeah.
Multiple time individual award accolade winners, if you don't want to compete for a championship.
Very impressed with Natasha Howard. Because the big concern I had was, like, are you she's been out in the wilderness, like so to speak, since
She went
Seattle.
to Dallas. Yeah.
She went to Dallas, was in New York on like those really kind of I think that was still like a Walt Hopkins team.
No, she was in New York Sandy's first year, wasn't she? Or no,
Sandy's first. I can't remember if Sandy arrived in conjunction with the big three, but there was a year, I believe
21, 22.
Yeah.
She was at 21, 22.
Gotcha. And so I remember quite vividly that season, especially as like a noted Sabrina like agenda pusher, watching Natasha Howard like kind of go single-handed and being like, oh, this is not the person to put alongside you. Like, this is not going to work. And then she goes to Dallas and it's kind of a similar thing. Like, it's her and Enrique sort of, doing band for band. And you're like, what is the plan here with these two? And to me, Natasha Howard is kind of similar to Jewel Lloyd in the sense that they are star caliber role players in that way, and I think we kind of create this tier of like star versus role player. You can be both. Like in this league, especially given the glut of talent across 13 teams, like you can be a star and still be like a role player by virtue of being the third or fourth option on a team. And I think she seems to have an understanding, at least it seemed based on that like rotation and how she played within the Indiana offense in that matchup, that she clearly seems to understand and respect who the number one and the number two is on this team. And I think that was my biggest concern with her specifically. And if she gets that, I mean, dude, your fifth option is her or DB. Like it's like Caitlin, AB, Kelsey Mitchell, insert DB or Natasha Howard there. That is a preposterous fourth or fifth option to have when they're clicking the way they need to.
And if I could make note, Natasha Howard is a 3-time WNBA champion, 2-time All-Star, 1-time Defensive Player of the Year, 1-time W First Team, 2-time All-Defensive First Team, and Most Improved Player. She's got more accolades than Sabrina. I want to point this out to you for one reason, because you brought it up and we need to discuss how she ran off all the better players before getting other better players and then hiding behind them. That's really where I am at with this. So, Fever admin, if you need help being proactive and giving Natasha Howard her flowers while also dissing the New York Liberty, I'm right here.
Ring on my finger, no ring on your finger.
We got 2. Watch your mouth.
Absolutely not. Who's
we
2?
Got 2.
You're calling
the ones that beat you on your.
You're claiming Aces rings now.
Not even trying
to claim Tamika Catchings rings, bro. This is nasty work. This is
Aces
wicked
rings?
behavior.
Hello, we beat you on your court, and I did I not? The rant heard around the world, like
the no heard around the world.
Salute.
God,
No,
I love Ruko.